Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Holly. I make food for what? Why did I just Wow, this is also a good start. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you are new here, my name is Holly. I make food and fitness content, and if you're not new here, welcome back to the channel. There we go, eventually got there. First of all, I just want to say happy Sunday. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this short period of it with me. I hope you've all had a wonderful day leading up till now. This week's video is going to be a what I ate in a day. I feel like I've not done one of these in a hot minute, and this one is going to be a little bit more specific and a little bit more focused. So I touched on this last week and I've been speaking about it on Instagram, and it's kind of a bit useless me just like, oh, my PCOS is flaring up, if I can't kind of share what I'm doing to help it and to help any of you, because I know obviously PCOS is not an individual thing. I'm not the only person in the world, but that it's extremely common and can be extremely frustrating. The one thing I will say going into this video is PCOS is so different for everybody. It's not a one shoe fits all situation. Just because this is what works for me and this is what I'm doing doesn't necessarily mean it is going to work for you. I was diagnosed with PCOS, oh my goodness, I think probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. So I've kind of had a lot of experience with it. I kind of know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. I know why I'm having a flare up, and that's something that we can also go into. And these are kind of the meals that usually for me really help. Food isn't the only thing that is going to impact and help your PCOS, but for me, I noticed my nutrition has a very big impact on it, and that's just something personal to me. My PCOS is also insulin resistant, so that's again why food has such a big impact on it and why I notice food contributes to flare-ups in my symptoms. I'm gonna like sit down and do a lot more of a deep dive a little bit later on in the video and kind of talk to you guys about everything. But if you are looking for kind of like my whole PCOS story, if you want the whole backstory, my story about endometriosis, all of those things, how I got diagnosed, that is all in a separate video. I did film this video probably 2 years ago now, so cue a very teeny tiny Holly in this video, but it's still relevant. It's got all the facts, all the information, and if you're looking for that kind of information, that is the best video that I can send you to go and watch. This one's more post-diagnosis, how I'm dealing with it, what my flare-up's been looking like recently, kind of skincare that I'm doing to help it, everything kind of around that. But first things first, this morning I'm going to be making my breakfast and then I'm going to be going off on a morning run. I'm doing a 6-kilometer run this morning, which I'm excited about. It's a little bit gloomy today, but it's probably nicer. It's just going to mean that I'm not going to get super dehydrated, hot and sweaty. So for breakfast, I'm going to be throwing together some protein oats. I always have a good source of carbs before I go out on a run, so today is no different. And I'm going to be adding some protein powder into that as well, just to give me a little bit of a kick for my protein. I've let my breakfast go down for like 30-40 minutes, and I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna do a full warm up and then we'll head off for the 6 kilometers. Don't give it up before you even try. I won't rush. No, we can take our time. Don't wanna cross our line, but would you be mine? Back, loving the sweat patches. These tops from Lulu are my absolute favorite for running at the moment. Like, they're so like fitted. Like, I'm not even wearing a high impact sportswear. I'm just wearing like a regular, and it just feels like it just holds you in place. I love them. But that was good. It was a good run. For the first like half, I was just really struggling to like settle. Like, I think because of being injured, not that I've mentioned it 10 trillion times, it just adds this layer to like my running now, where I go out and I just feel a bit nervous. I'm like, if I start to feel pain, what do I do? And it's kind of like my brain can't really like relax, and I can't really be like, oh my god, I'm really gonna enjoy this, because it's like, I might enjoy this, but I might also have to stop early because I've hurt myself again. So I'm just kind of dealing with those emotions at the moment. But that was a 6 kilometer run. Let me get the stats. at a lovely, lovely, lovely 6:25 per kilometre pace, so it took me 38 minutes. Felt just like really nice to be out there doing it. I felt my knee a little bit, which was a bit weird because I've not really felt my knee in a long time, and it's just so funny that like my hip is like, we're good, and then my knee's like, I'm back. But it's very early on, it's very initial. Hopefully it's just kind of settling back into running 3 times a week again, because that was the first time I did that last week. So I'm not gonna panic. Yeah, I'm just gonna stretch, ice, take my vitamins, go to my rehab appointments and just close my eyes and pretend it's not happening, basically. Aside from that, what else was I about to say? Yeah, I'm gonna stretch and then we'll talk about the watch situation, because I've had a lot of questions and I probably look like I'm flip-flopping in between the brands at the moment, but I'll explain why. But I'm gonna stretch first. Right, stretching is done. I need to hydrate massively. So just quickly in a nutshell, because it's not the most interesting chat, the watch. So I spoke about this like 2 vlogs ago. I very kindly got sent an Apple Watch by Apple. I went to an event with them, learned all about like the mindfulness of it. They were basically like, we are just gonna give this to you. Don't feel the pressure to wear it, no pressure to post it, like nothing like that. It was just like, enjoy it. If you enjoy it, you can wear it. If you don't enjoy it, don't wear it. So that was kind of based more around like the wellness side of things. I actually had a call with the Apple running team to kind of discuss the watch and see how I felt about it. And I'd taken it on 2 runs. And in my very honest opinion, I think the Apple Watch is absolutely great. However, I think it's great for lifestyle and for workouts. However, for running, there was just certain aspects of it that I was missing. So for me, there was no like stop-start button on the side, which the Garmin has. The battery life isn't as long, and the insights on the watch face like weren't as detailed. I couldn't really see as much because it's like a smaller screen. So I kind of went to them and I was like, these are kind of like the main problems that I personally see and why I preferred my previous watch. They were then like, okay, we think actually the Apple Watch Ultra would be more suited to you. So the Apple Watch Ultra is basically designed for sports or ultra runners or marathon runners, everything like that. The battery life is longer, it's got the buttons on the side, it shows you more detailed analytics, and it's basically just designed for like endurance athletes, as opposed to the Apple Watch, which is designed for sport but not as heavily focused on sport, if that makes sense. So they are actually going to be sending me the Apple Watch Ultra to trial. So in the meantime, I've gone back to my Garmin just because this is my favorite one for running. I do wear the Apple Watch kind of like day to day because I think it's great because you can like obviously get all your text messages. There's just like a lot more lifestyle-y features on it that I prefer. So I'm kind of thinking when the Apple Watch Ultra arrives, if it's a blend of those 2 things, it should probably tick like every box I'm looking for in a fitness watch. But again, if I don't like it, I'll be super honest with you guys and I'll tell you what I think, because that is my honest opinion of the current Apple Watch that I have. So that's why I'm back to the Garmin. Anyway, like I said, not the most interesting chat, but I always get questions about like sports watches, and I get scared about people kind of seeing me wear something and buying it because I'm wearing it and I do running or things like that. If I genuinely love it, I will tell you guys that, and if I don't, I will also tell you guys that. So don't be hasty and make any purchases yet. I will hopefully be getting my Apple Watch Ultra, I think next week or this week, and then I'll take it out on some runs. Again, I'll do like a bit of a trial run and I'll give you guys a little bit of an update so that you can choose your sports watch wisely. Not that you're 100% gonna go based off my opinion, but I think it does always help hearing somebody who's like trialed and tested a product. Anyway, breakfast time. Let's throw together some hash browns, some eggs, avocado. I actually picked up some other veg from Trader Joe's just then. So I'm also gonna do some mushrooms and what else did I get? Some spinach. Not interesting to report, but I'm about to have my wafer, and seeing as I'm showing you everything I'm eating in the day, this is also included. These I have every single day. I was out of stock of them for I think 4 days last week, and it just really ruined every single afternoon. So yeah, we're having a wafer. Right, I've got my coffee. Let's sit down and have a little bit of a chin wag. Okay, so as mentioned, I thought I would sit down and chat to you guys kind of about PCOS, my PCOS, what I'm currently doing to manage it. So if you are really, really suffering and you're having a lot of issues, the best thing to do is speak to a specialist. I'm definitely not a specialist. I'm just a girl that lives with PCOS and has kind of found like her own coping mechanisms throughout the year, and like I said, yeah, this is just what's worked for me. I've literally gone through so much trial and error, and the reason I really want to like preface that before we get into this chat is because when I was first diagnosed, I obviously took to the internet to try and find things that would help, and there was just a lot out there that for me like now feels quite toxic, and just a lot of people saying like, you need to do this, you need to do this. Like with this kind of medical condition, like I said a million times, it's different for every single person. Like you need to find what works for you. There are people out there that will basically be like, you shouldn't be eating carbs, you shouldn't be running, you shouldn't be doing endurance sports, you shouldn't be doing HIIT workouts, you need to be doing like low impact, easy, slow paced workouts. Even if that were the fact, I love running. In order to run, I need to be eating a lot of carbs because I need the energy. Those two things I will never eradicate from my life because that doesn't fit within my lifestyle. And even if that meant that maybe my PCOS was flaring up a little bit, to be honest, for running, because I just love it so much, that is a sacrifice I would be willing to make. Maybe for some people, they would be like, okay, that's fine, like I'm just not gonna run. Like that isn't really an option for me, even if that were the case, but it's definitely not. Also, before we get into this, I want to recommend somebody for you guys to go and follow. So her name is Dr. Hazel Wallace. If you have PCOS or endometriosis, I'm sure you've probably already heard of her. I actually had the honor of meeting her last year. We ran the New York Marathon together with Strava, and she is a specialist for PCOS and endometriosis, and she's like my go-to person that I go to for Instagram or for help. And I'll pop her Instagram in here because if you're looking for a specialist, she is 110% the person to go to. She also has an amazing book and a podcast. So if you guys really need like professional help, I'm just going to point you in her direction before I kind of yabber into my non-professional help. Like I mentioned, I was diagnosed with PCOS 4 or 5 years ago. When I had that diagnosis, I was recommended to go on the coil. My coil is the Kyleena, I believe it's called. So it's the in-between. So it's a bit of a mixture of both the copper and the hormonal, but the hormones are localized. So they're not hormones that spread all throughout your body. They stay basically within like your uterus. And alongside that, I actually don't have periods. So I will have almost like a cycle where towards like the end of the month, every week, I will kind of have a week where I'm like, oh, I'm definitely feeling like I would be on my period now. Like I'd maybe feel a little bit hormonal or have some cramping. Occasionally I do have a bleed. It's probably like once every 4 or 5 months. And that week isn't very intense, I would say. The majority of the time it will just be pretty chill. I'll just have like a couple of cramps. I'll maybe be looking at myself pretty negatively and I'll be like, oh, I'm definitely feeling hormonal, and that's fine, that's great. However, every 4 or 5 months usually, or 6 months dependent on my lifestyle, I will have what I refer to as a hormonal hurricane, which I'm currently right in the center of. And that is basically where an accumulation of things just basically make my PCOS flare up really badly. And for a flare up, my kind of symptoms are hormonally, I feel very up and down, very all over the place. Pain wise, I get really extreme cramping and bloating, lower back pain. The pain in my ovaries gets so bad to the point that it sends almost like shooting pains down the top of my thighs. I then sometimes experience like my legs actually go like numb almost from the pain. I also suffer with breakouts, so all along kind of like my cheeks and my face, I get a really bad skin breakout, just general like fatigue. And yeah, that's kind of the period of it that I am trapped in at the moment, and it's been going on for about 2 weeks. I do kind of feel like I'm coming out the other side, but I don't want to jinx it right now. The pain is still pretty bad day to day, but hormonally I am starting to feel a little bit better, so I'm hoping I'm kind of phasing out of it. The reason I have these flare-ups and what I really notice affects my PCOS is routine with my exercise and routine with my diet. And I think this leads back to my PCOS being insulin resistant. So day to day, I'd say prior to kind of moving here in Manchester, I was very structured with my meals. I have set meals I have every single day. I always eat basically at the same time. I know what I'm eating. I'm always eating and hitting macros, so my body's always having the same amount of macros. I usually exercise at the same time of the day. Moving here, I kind of entered this phase of not taking it too seriously, exercise and food-wise, because I was really settling in. So I basically pulled back on running because of my injury anyway, but food-wise, for about 3 weeks, like leading up till kind of like last week, I was a little bit all over the shop, which is fine. It's just, I noticed that does have a really big impact on my PCOS. I think because I'm eating out, I'm eating at different times. And because I'm eating out, I'm kind of making different food choices than I would usually do. My foods aren't being cooked at home, and I'm probably choosing foods that cause higher sugar spikes than I would usually be eating. And that is absolutely fine for me for about a weekend. If I have a weekend where it's like that, I'll be fine. If I have 3 weeks where my body's very out of routine, not eating a consistent diet, and I'm not saying diet as in like in a calorie deficit. I just mean like I'm not eating my regular meals. I usually eat at maintenance or in a surplus. That is the thing that I notice has the biggest impact on me. And I notice if I go back into routine, even if it's just for a week, and my body is able to kind of like regulate a lot more and not feel as kind of all over the place, it has such a positive impact. And I know that this kind of flare up is coming off the back of being out of routine. Sorry guys, I literally just had to run off because I had a rug delivered, so I completely lost my train of thought. But I think I was just kind of going into the main sorts of things that have worked. And if I could stress anything, it's just having a good routine and structure with your diet and your exercise, but also just understanding like that isn't always going to be possible and that isn't always going to happen. That is life. And sometimes you're gonna have flare-ups and they're gonna feel a little bit crappy. And in these times, please just be kind to yourself, be aware of what you're going through. For me, I've just been so negative towards myself over the past week and my body image has been really bad, but it's having the awareness of being like, no, this isn't the reality. Like what I'm feeling and how I'm thinking about myself is not the reality of the situation. It's the PMS lenses, I've got them on. I just need to kind of get through the week. I need to maybe find a little bit more routine, do some things that make me feel good about myself, whether that's having a nice cozy evening on the sofa and binge watching your favorite TV show, or going and getting your toenails painted, whatever it is. Just give yourself some extra compassion in those times because it sucks, but just be super kind to yourself. And the way I kind of design my what I eat in a day today is basically the meals that I know kind of like make my body feel happy, make my PCOS feel happy, and just make me feel my best within myself. So that's why I wanted to share this what I eat in a day, because this is basically me coming off the back of not having a lot of routine, trying to get back into routine, and this is how I'm eating to do that. So I'm gonna have the rest of my coffee and I'm gonna go roll my new rug out. I don't know how on earth I'm gonna get that under the bed. That's not your problem. That is a me problem. That is not a you problem, but I'll let you guys know how that goes and I'll join you when it's time for lunch. It is now lunchtime. I'm gonna be prepping basically like a lunch for the week. So this is gonna be kind of like my meal prep. I feel like I'm a lazy girl when it comes to lunchtimes, and I never want to like really put that much effort into cooking. This is also a good one that you can take to work with you, so it's super simple. I'm just gonna be basically cooking a whole load of chicken, a whole load of sweet potatoes, and then mixing it into a salad. But I'm gonna be making it like a Mexican chicken salad, so like taco seasoning on the wedges and the chicken, and just like adding some like salsa into the salad, probably some pickled onions because I'm obsessed with those, and just like a bunch of other veggies and yummy things like that. So yeah, that is gonna be lunch. Let's get cracking because I am quite hungry. Hi, hello. It is now dinner time. I'm gonna throw together a like salmon, kind of like a sort of poke bowl. I basically have these all the time. These are not new to the channel. They're just so easy. I've got some salmon that I've defrosted today, so I'm gonna pop that in the oven. I'm also gonna cook like 2 pieces of it, so meal prepping some salmon as well as the chicken that I did earlier. And then, yeah, just throw it all together. I'm gonna like sauce it. Marinate it. Marinate is the word. I'm gonna marinate it with some like honey, garlic, soy sauce, and a little bit of lime. So I thought I'd have a chat with you guys while I make the rest of dinner. Yes. Exciting update in my life. I bought a bike. I am the proud owner of a bike. I'm a bike mum now. So this was not an impulsive decision, but like deciding to finally go and do it was slightly impulsive, but I've been thinking about this for months. So I've been going to my spin classes and I've been like absolutely loving them. And I've done a few sessions on the bike in the gym because of the fact that I can't run very far at the moment. And I just feel like there's just like something, it feels like there's like a little piece of something missing, because even though I can run, I can't really run very far, and I feel like I'm just not really spending as much time like outside as I would like. And I've kind of had this realization that like endurance sport is like my favorite thing. Like I love that form of training. I love like the mental side of it. I feel like it just like pushes me in a different way than HIIT workouts or like short sharp workouts or anything else like that. So I've been really like thinking about this, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna like get a bike and try and get cycling, because I used to love cycling when I was younger. Me and my family used to go to like Whitstable, or we'd go to Hastings and we'd rent like caravans and caravan parks, and then we'd take bikes and we'd cycle around and like cycle to dinners. And I just have really like fond memories of cycling. And the cycling community in LA is huge. A lot of the girls I've met, they cycle. I just was like, why not? Because the thing that was holding me back was like, oh, but I don't even know where to start. I don't even know like what bike I would want. I don't even know if I'm gonna be like any good at cycling outside, like on the pavement, which is so silly because obviously I'm not gonna be good. Like I've never done this as an adult. I've never really tried. I've never ridden a proper professional bike. I've only had like my brat's bike when I was younger. And I think that's what put me off for so long, and I was like a bit embarrassed to be a beginner. But also I didn't start running with any knowledge of running. Like I just decided to do it. And with this, I've just decided that I'm just gonna go for it and I'm just gonna do it. That is a little update on life at the moment. This is dinner. I'm just gonna pop some sriracha mayo on top. I've literally been eating sriracha mayo with everything today. Finished dinner now. I'm just gonna have a pack of Oreo minis. These are so delish, but while I'm sat here, let's do a roundup for the day. It feels like it's been so long since I've done one of these. So today I've hit 2,008 calories. That is slightly under. Normally I aim for 2,100, so I'm like 90 odd off, but I also don't track like my sriracha mayo when I put it on, because I just, life is too short to be doing things like that. So that will add up to probably take me around like 2,100, 2,150. I also don't track veg either, so that definitely would have been hit without that. Okay, face wash time. So, alongside my PCOS, when it loves to, you know, amp the volume up on my life, it also amps the volume up on my skin. And my skin, I've kind of spoken about my skin journey on here, over the past year has just like kind of really changed, like quite drastically. I used to have very clear skin. I never used to really like bother much with washing my face or face products, which is probably why it all catches up with you. And yeah, I've just had like really bad breakups kind of like along here for the past like year. What happens is like my skin is getting very clogged. So I think when I'm hormonal, I'm overproducing a lot of oil, my skin's getting clogged, it can't really breathe, it can't really get it out. So then it's creating all these like tiny little spots, and then some of them get really big and quite cystic, and then they burst, and then obviously it leaves scarring. So that's kind of the cycle I've been stuck in. It got a lot better before I came here, but I think coming here, the water's different. I am getting a water filter for my shower, so hopefully that will help that situation. The water's different, there's a lot of sun, there's a lot of heat, there's just like a lot of different environmental factors that can kind of make your skin go like, ooh, and break out. So I was seeing an acne specialist and dermatologist last week who was so lovely. You know, you need to find someone who just like really listens to you, validates you. Like she was just so lovely and really like heard what I was trying to say about my skin, because it's something that does like stress me out quite a lot. So anyway, she did me a lovely facial. She's extracted a lot from my skin. So you'll see when I take my makeup off, I have quite a lot of like redness and like scarring here at the moment, just from where she really went to town to get everything out. But she's basically now recommending me skincare, and I've got a whole new skincare regime. I say regime, but I've only got 2 products that I'm now using because we're really stripping it back to basics. Okay, so I'm taking a clean flannel. I will use these twice. So I'll use this now, I'll use it in the morning, and then I'll go in the wash and I get a fresh one. And I'm using, this is new for me, I've only used this over the past week, but so far so good. It's from Face Reality, and it's Barrier Balance Cream Cleanser, and it's acne safe. And so far, it does seem to be acne safe. So I'm just gonna go in and wash my face with that. You can literally see as soon as I start to take the makeup off, all my scarring comes out, which I feel really insecure about that at the moment, just because it's something that, number one, I find it quite hard to cover with makeup. And when I do cover it, I feel like it tends to look like grey and a bit patchy. And when I put like contour on or things like that, it just doesn't really sit very well. So it's just a bit frustrating at the moment because I'm not feeling that great makeup free, but I'm also then putting makeup on and not enjoying how it's sitting. So it feels like a bit of a cycle at the moment. So one of the tips that she actually gave me was to let the cleanser sit on your face for at least a minute the first time you wash it. I'm just gonna let that sit for a second. Nice. I'm gonna double cleanse, so I'm gonna go in once more. But last product I'm going to use, and this is new as well, is the Dr. Jart Ceramidin Skin Barrier Moisture Repair. Apparently this is the best one if moisturizers block your skin, because that is exactly what mine do. My camera is now flashing at me because I'm about to run out of charge, so I'm going to literally put this on and also say goodnight at the same time, so we don't have a cut off. But thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. I hope you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.